Morning everyone, One Eye Biker here. We're at Derby Kawasaki today. It's a very wonderful waiting area that they've got here. No biking action today. The weather's absolutely dreadful out there. Storm Jorge, whatever they're calling it this week, is here. But today we're going to talk about helmet safety because the laws are just about to change. At the moment we've got in place something called ECE 22.05. Basically it means it's the 5th revision of this regulation, which relates to helmet design. Now basically this is a test and various tests that all helmets have to go through before they can be put on sale around the world. It's led by the UN, and basically it makes sure that what you've got in your head is safe. Now the laws are changing very shortly. It's likely to pass through in June, and we've got the next revision of the law coming, so basically it moves up a number. They're going to be doing some different testing on helmets, so it will mean there will be additional things that they'll be trying for, which they don't test for now to see whether it's safe. So for example, on a helmet like this one, you've got a sun visor in there. At the moment they don't test with these things down. They're going to start testing with these things down. If you've got a peak on your helmet as well, or any accessories that can be fitted by the manufacturer new, they're going to be testing with these bits basically to make sure that they're safe. It's probably something that's a little bit long overdue. Does it mean that the helmet you've got now isn't safe if it's got one of these? Not necessarily. They could pass the tests as they are, but manufacturers will be working on making sure that the helmets meet the new regulations as soon as possible. Now, with regards to when laws like this come in, they basically have a transition period of normally 3 years. So the plan is for the law to come in June, which will mean that basically any new helmet designs after June will have to meet the new law. Any existing helmet designs can continue to be sold, but must not be sold after 3 years' time after the law passes, if that makes sense. In general, it does mean that we're potentially going to get safer helmets, but obviously it's very hard to tell with helmets what is a good helmet and what's a bad helmet, other than kind of looking at reputation and price. Now there is something out there which you can look at. It's a scheme done by the DFT, the Department of Transport in the UK. I'll put the links in the comments section, but it's called Sharp, and basically these guys test helmets a lot more than what the safety standard does. They do 32 tests on every single helmet they test, various different impact tests. As I say, all the details are on the link, and they give a 5-star rating, a bit like the Euro NCAP for cars. And you can see there whether your helmet is a 1-star or a 5-star or 3-star or whatever, and they give you some detailed analysis on where the impact tests were done and where a helmet might be weak or one might be better than another. An interesting thing on that as well that I noticed on the website when I was looking earlier is that basically you assume that a 5-star helmet is going to cost you a lot of money. It doesn't have to. There's actually one for pretty much everyone's budget. If you go on the site, you can filter down by the helmets they've tested, search for the 5-star ones, and you'll find there's actually helmets from £70, so some were quite cool looking actually. So you're not going to end up spending 70 quid because it's a 5-star, looking like you've got a duck's bill sat on your head or something like that. There's some really nice stuff on there, but it's certainly something bearing in mind to look at. While we're on helmet safety though, irrespective of whether you've got a Sharp 5-star helmet, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be safe in an accident, because just as important as having a 5-star helmet is also having one that fits appropriately. Some interesting statistics are that in the UK, motorbikes make up 1% of the traffic out there, but 19% of fatalities on the road. Out of the motorcycle accidents as well, 70% have head traumas, and 80% of fatalities of motorcyclists involve head trauma as well. So it's so important to make sure you have the right helmet. Can't stress it enough. Now, some people aren't sure what to look for when buying a helmet to make sure the fit's appropriate. Just a few tips really. You need to make sure that basically when your head's inside the helmet, that you've got contact all the way around in the helmet. The helmet won't work properly unless it's touching your head all over. If you imagine it's a bit like a knee pad in these, for example, because it's against the skin, it acts as a cushion against the bone if I fall off the bike. Hopefully I won't. But if you think of your head as part of Newton's cradle, for example, so you've got one end of the Newton's cradle, that's your impact from the accident. Your helmet's one in the middle balls, and basically all it will do is transfer all the shock straight through to your head on the other side. So it's so important that your helmet is tight on your head and fits properly, otherwise the shock absorption in the helmet just won't work. There's also a couple of other important things as well, because something I didn't know till yesterday was in motorcycle accidents, 12% of the time the helmet leaves the head. One of the key ways to make sure not only does your helmet fit on your head properly, but it's not going to come off, is when you try it on, that you tie the neck strap underneath there, tilt your head forward like that, so almost like you've got a double chin, and get someone to push the helmet on the back of your head. If it doesn't come off, you're probably going to be alright in an accident. Unfortunately, there's some cool helmets out there that you'll see, and your head just won't be the right shape. Everyone's head's a different shape, and different helmet designs are all designed for different shaped heads, but it's far more important to make sure that what's in your helmet gets protected rather than looking cool. I hope that helps. Just a couple of other things as well on the helmet fitting is that just because you're an XL or a large or whatever in one helmet design doesn't mean that you are in another make. Always make sure you measure the circumference of your head. Always go to a shop and try it on. And there's a lot of cheap helmets out there in the marketplace. Please protect yourself and ensure that when you're looking at a helmet, you look like this one. And on every neck strap you'll find there's a type approval sticker on there. Make sure it's got that on, because you know, your head's more important than anything. I hope that helps explain the new legislations that are coming through, and I hope you may have picked up a couple of tips on there on picking your next helmet. Some more video content's coming next week, so keep a lookout for it, and feel free to click the subscribe button to keep up to date.